When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
to ride, standing in the station, ready to step inside. All you can see, something that you do, was red as the future was waiting for you. Train rolls in the station, you cannot make a move. Something inside you gives you heat, and then you know it's true. Is the fog lifting, or is it in your mind? You stand frozen as time unwinds. Can weep and moan, or you can reach your hand up and stop standing alone. Let them take your hand as you lift your face. Rise and take your place.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Well, hey there, Rob.
Hey.
Hey. So generally when we start out a show, we start out talking a little bit about what did we do that was gun oriented, that was shooting, that was something. Well, I did a little bit of all that, advocacy, shooting, gun oriented. A Cleveland news station is doing a section on women and guns, like a 5-minute segment. So it's actually a bigger. Most news stories are somewhere between 30 seconds to a minute and a half. I mean, they're boom, boom, boom. So having
That's how long your attention span is.
Right. So we're going to stretch it with this 5-minute segment. They're going to interview a couple different people. And so my interview was this week. So 8 o'clock in the morning, we headed over to the range, shot a little, talked a little, filmed a little. It was good. It was interesting. And it's always a crapshoot. Some of my friends are like, why do you let the media anywhere near you when you're talking guns? And I think that the answer to that is...
You have to let them in, or all of a sudden it's them against you. And
nobody
gets to see what the other
if you don't
saying.
ever get an opportunity or take the opportunity or try to make an opportunity to tell your side...
The big thing, I think you have to watch what they do, cut it down to, and then make sure that you are willing to
live with that or rebut it or something. But yeah, but you have to. I think you have to take that risk. You got to put yourself out there, and you got to do your darndest to explain your stance, why you're doing it, what you're doing, and that, so that people can see you.
You can see some of it though when people say, "Well, why do you even deal with those guys?" Because I mean, I see them on like in the morning news and that, and sometimes they, I don't know whether the person who's doing the thing isn't prepared. If it seems like they play them right to the edge, and they don't really have a strong two-way message. They just are up there blabbing away for.
Well, sometimes it's who do they peck? How prepared are they? You know, I mean,
right.
And so the news people are just looking for people to interview, and I'm not defending them, but I'm also not persecuting them. I mean, sometimes they get somebody that's just...
You go to a gun shop, it's a crapshoot as to whether the guy you know has ever even read a article in the paper or something about...
Or that has done any in-depth or knows what Heller stands for.
He's a gun shop guy, but he's not a political guy, so
right.
all of a sudden he knows nothing about what's going on. Or
he may be...
Only what one of his customers told him.
And he may be the salesman of the year, that he can sell you anything. But that doesn't mean that he understands the Constitution. And so that's that kind of that pick or that piece or that all kind of comes together. So it was interesting, and now we wait. So next week, Tuesday, the article will come out. Well, no, a week and Tuesday.
Right.
Because I got to...
So it's on the 30th.
Yeah, it's on the 30th after things.
Find it on the calendar that way.
That way. Then whatever I'm saying.
It would be
I was
on
like,
Channel 5?
So it's a Cleveland WEWS station. So
people that are
local.
Out of the area, they can find the article, I'm sure, on the website.
Right. So once we'll share it. We'll talk about it on the show once we see what they did to me and one of my friends, Candy Petticord. I prepped her up or put her up to it or offered her up, I guess would be the true statement. I offered her up as a candidate and victim for the news programs. So it's always interesting to be like, what do you say? How do you, when they say, well, you know, why do you have a gun? Why do you carry a gun?
Well, it started out as I had a gun for entertainment, and I would go out in the yard and I would shoot things and do stuff, and and then they've slowly forced my hand to why I got to take it with me when I go somewhere. And before I just stayed home like the dog, and
And now you have to leave the house. And
now it has to go with me because they are forcing me to do it.
well, it's kind of, it's a scary world out there. And I want to, my answer is I want to go home.
Right, and
That's really the thing.
And a lot of people, they think, well, I got a gun, I don't need training. You need training.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more to this than I got a gun. And also, too, when things really fly to pieces, do you really know how to use that gun and in a hurry?
Right.
Or if someone takes that gun, can you get it back? Or can you do something?
Great. How strong are you? I'm working on strong.
You don't really need a lot of strength. You just need a couple of throat punches or something. And,
Well, you need some strength at the same time because you may have to climb up to get to their throat, depending on how tall you are.
But
If
you step on their crotches, you punch in their throat. Now you're at you got the upper hand, and then
there you go.
You can take your gun back in a hurry.
We have a friend who is a hand-to-hand combat guy, and he teaches you a variety of things. And so he's given me a couple pointers, and those pointers, he's given me a lot of pointers. A couple of them have stuck.
Pretty much it's go right in the middle and work your way to the top until you're in charge.
You're all in. That's pretty much the hint and the point is.
They're not expecting that, and if you come in hot and you give it everything you got, it doesn't take a lot before all of a sudden they've decided they got someplace else they need to be.
Right, and so he gives you a couple techniques for causing them to want to let go of you.
Right.
And so throat punching is one of them, eye poking is another one of them, biting them is another one of those, and then the general well-placed
eyes and coin punches and
right, a couple well-placed kicks and and so those are the
even if you do not prevail, you've imprinted on his memory that it's not going easy.
Don't mess with the little old lady. That would be it. So okay. So what did you do besides answer the phone for every hunter out there that was not prepared?
The hunting season starts the Monday following Thanksgiving here in Ohio, and then they also have some juvenile seasons now for the kids to hunt early. But no one thinks about this in June or July. They all of a sudden wait till the last minute and my gun's broken, I need a gun, or I want to buy ammo. And a lot of times I want to buy a certain kind of brand, weight, stuff.
Yeah, the specifics if I want to buy ammo.
But it's so funny that it's like, well, why not? Why didn't you think about this ahead of time? Or if this is the only ammo your gun likes, why aren't you sitting on like 20,000 rounds of it? Because it's not going to change its taste down the road.
Right. And it's not like the ammo. Ammo is not like cereal. It doesn't go stale.
Right, it doesn't go stale.
It just sits
keep
there.
It somewhere where if you're comfortable, it would be comfortable. And you could have a big box of it under the bed and everybody be happy. You sleep better at night. And
But so many people, I've been, you and I hang, and it's just funny because people, and you're like, no, don't have it. Nope, don't have the gun shop. Nope. Why don't you try this place? Why don't you try that place? You ought to just not answer your phone and leave a recording because there were that many phone calls.
Right, it's funny. It's like, man, I cannot believe nobody's thinking about this ahead of time. And but yeah, I have stuff, but I'm not sharing it with you.
I'm not sharing it with you. I'm sharing it as much as I possibly can.
10 years sorting this stuff out from my own personal setbacks and time, and I'm going to continue sitting on it.
Okay. That's it. I don't have to share.
What's funny
everything.
is I have my wife over the summer. She cleaned out one of the kids' bedrooms and moved some stuff around, but she found 3 cases of 10 gauge shotgun shells. Well, when you go out to shoot this 10 gauge shotgun, about 5-6 shots, and your eyes don't focus anymore, and you're black and blue and everything. So it's like I could shoot that gun whenever I felt like it, and I hardly ever shoot it because ammo's so expensive. It's like I just need to take it out and shoot it more because I got a lifetime supply of ammo.
I think the funny part is that when you say she cleaned out one of the kids' bedrooms, The bedroom is beside your reloading room. The kid moved out 12 years ago. Is now a father of 3, has on his second house.
Right, but she moved her stuff in and put racks and shelves and stuff in for.
It became a craft room.
Right, so she's got puzzles and games and different things that she does.
And your stuff that oozed from the reloading room into that room is jettisoned back out. There you go.
But yeah, it's funny. It's like, how much is enough? I mean, how much when you're stockpiling stuff? How much is enough? And then, if you got it, do you actually use it, or you just are so afraid that you're going to be out that you go buy more?
That you buy more and you stack it up. But you have to know how much you have to be able to do the inventory, to be able to know how much. So we'll be back right after this.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, we are back, and we're in the history segment of the show. So we are going to talk about history.
First thing is you were talking about knowing how much you have before you could draw a line as to how much is too much.
Okay.
But you lose your plausible deniability when you know exactly how many runs are in.
You mean to your spouse?
Right. So you can't just say, I don't know, and she's not going to count them. So you can have 2 or 3 clauses full and nothing really comes of it. But if you got it marked right on the top of the box how much is in there.
Well, you don't have to have it marked. It can be in your head. But you have to, if you're restricting your actions for practice and that because you don't believe you have enough,
I guess I need
to know.
My upstairs closet should be my saving stuff, and the stuff downstairs then I can just shoot up.
Right.
Willy-nilly.
And then you can transfer it. You can do it. I can do a hostage exchange. I'm good to go. I just look in there. I don't know.
Keep moving stuff around.
Enough.
Okay, I want to talk about shotgun shells. Since everybody's going hunting this week, do you know that originally the shotgun shells were brass cased, and then they put a wad in the end and crimped it over, and that was so when they tell you about what the chamber length is, so you got like a 2 5/8 chamber or 2 3/4. They didn't have to worry about the case opening up at that point. They could have one that was long enough that it was all the way up there. When they started to opening the chamber, now they started using paper, and if you get a hold of that, it's got a pretty thick wall on the paper.
Oh, it's extremely thick.
Right. So when that opens, it has to open enough that it can allow the stuff on the inside to go out without pulling that opening flare off of the end of the thing. And then when in the 60s, about 1965, they come out with plastic cases. And those cases are so much thinner than the paper that a lot of times you can get away with the fact that
it'll just
when it opens,
to the side
right, it still leaves it with plenty of room, so there's no actual pressure. There was an article a couple of years ago in the Handloader magazine, and they were testing old single-shot shotguns, and they put all this piezoelectronic measuring tools on it, and tried it with all different stuff. And really, they didn't notice any pressure changes between the 2 5/8 shells and the 2 3/4 shells with that opening up. And I'd seen another article in the NRA, one of the pamphlets that they had put out. And back in the day, if you were hanging out with little old men at turkey shoots and that, they used to do a thing. They would ring a shell, and they take a knife and cut it most of the way around. And then when you put it in the gun, that whole thing went out like a slug instead of a...
Okay, so it took the whole end off.
Right, the outside case, everything went out the barrel, through the choke. And they tested those, and those actually had lower pressure than the actual shell being fired regular. So it was kind of funny that way that that pushing all that extra casing and everything out didn't actually spike the pressures. It did cause, back in the day, where you're shooting at something that was in shotgun range, but not looking at what's beyond that. I was at a trap shoot years ago, and the one of them shot the window out of a house across the way.
With one of the ring
shells? With a ring shell. Because it's like a slug. The whole thing goes the whole way.
It's traveling, so it's got more mass. It'll travel further.
Right. So, and then you're aiming, when you're shooting at the clay pigeons, you're aiming in the air at like a 45-degree angle anyhow. So now all of a sudden you're launching it clear.
So why would you shoot a ring shell, or why would you shoot a slug, if you will, air quotes slug, at a clay pigeon?
Well, you wouldn't, but these guys, because they're competitive, they cut it like that so that old Joe can't hit 25 in a row because he's shooting slugs at it instead of...
Oh, so somebody screwed...
They would just cut it up and throw it in his bag, and he wouldn't know that it was in there until...
So old Joe didn't know that...
Right.
Okay, so it's an ambush.
And prior to that, the old guys would cut it like that so that if they were in the woods and seen something big that they wanted to shoot, they could use that ring shell as an impromptu slug, illegally, of course, but...
And still make it through the inspection with the...
Right.
Got it. Okay, I fully understand the illegality.
So see how that works, but the shells... It's not a good idea to shoot 3-inch shells in a 2 3/4 inch gun.
No.
But it's not catastrophic in shooting one of them by accident or something. And a lot of guns, if it's a semi-automatic or a pump gun, the opening in the side isn't big enough to get the bullets in or out of. So
it's
it causes you to think about it ahead of time.
Hey, why don't this doesn't fit? Why doesn't this fit? Wait, bring the hammer. We got to make this fit.
Well, there's some people that just don't get the message and will continue to try to fight with it for a while. But
they were getting a clue or two. They should have been Sherlock.
Right. It was funny because a guy just called me over the weekend. There was an auction locally, and they have some Hastings 20 gauge 3.5-inch shells, which are not a standard. You don't see 3 inches is standard. 3.5 is really nothing that anyone's ever heard of. But Hastings makes barrels for deer slug guns and stuff like this, and specialty guns, and so they apparently had made some of these specialty shells to go with it. But it's not something that if you got them shells, you'll never find a gun to fit it. Let's put it that way.
So this is the thing where it has to be a marriage made in heaven. You have to have the gun and the shells.
Right, and so somebody who bought the gun probably bought the shells at the same time, and then somewhere along the line they got split up or divorced, or somebody either stole the gun or he sold the gun, and then he didn't think about the fact that he had 2 more cases of ammo in the closet. Now he's got all this ammo.
It was underneath all the other ammo that he wasn't counting.
Right.
Something like that.
Because some people don't. Money isn't a big deal. I'll just buy a couple of flats of shells because I got them. Mm-hmm. And some people, they buy the shells by the piece. I mean, because they don't have a whole lot of money to buy a flat of something.
Right. Or the family. The family plans on living indoors and eating store-bought food for the next couple of weeks.
Right. I mean, when you're looking at like that 10-gauge stuff that I got, somebody down the road had bought all this ammo. It's long past its best if used by date. It was built for hunting ducks or something back pre-steel shot days. Okay. And but now, if you go to buy that box of shells, it's $45 per box. And if you start looking at, you need a flat or two of those.
It starts to stack up. Well, you're pretty safe with those because it's a 10 gauge. I'm not shooting it. Your ammo's safe there with that 10 gauge. I'm not shooting it. Because the biggest threat to your ammo supply is when I get a gun that compares to whatever extra ammo you have. But other than that, we're all good. Hey, when we come back, we are going to be talking to Becky Paumier, who is from Damsel in Defense. And
Grab
you're going to
your
like
friends
it.
And head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Seppacool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
Hey, folks. Here we are, and we have our guest for this section is Becky Paumier. Becky, are you there with us?
Hi, I am here, Amanda.
Okay. Did I pronounce your last name correct?
It's Paumier.
Paumier. Okay, so Becky Paumier. And Becky is, she's a damsel pro, is the word for this. But what it is that she works with and for damsel in defense. And it's not damsel in distress because these gals have your back. And so it is damsel in defense. And so you need to think about the company a little bit. So the mission is to equip, empower, and educate women to protect themselves and their family. That's the heart of it. And they offer a variety of home-based education to provide to women non-lethal safety products for all ages and all ages. So pepper spray, stun devices, concealed carry purses, alarms, whistles, education, all of that kind of comes together. And I ran into Becky actually a couple times over the course of time because she is a Northeastern Ohio gal, and we kind of run in the same circles at points. But the reason that I asked her on the show was that she had this book, and this book caused me to stop, back up, pick it up, look at it, and then go from there. And they have a line of, it's called Safe Hearts, and I'm going to hold it up for those of you who are watching TV. It is a Safe Hearts book. I've got to put it over here, called Damon's Dilemma. And so the cool part about this book is it is a book about guns and gun safety for kids. Rob and I have been doing this for a long time, and I believe that I only know of 4 or 5 authors of gun safety for kids. And this one is in a line of kids safety books. And so it is not a full line of gun safety books. It is a gun safety book amongst a variety of other safety books. So Becky, tell me a little bit about how you got involved in Damsel in Defense, and then when you started to see these books.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I have been with Damsel for about 5 years, and it's kind of interesting because I wasn't looking to do anything else or add anything else on my plate, and I just feel that it was just it just fell into my lap, and I didn't hear about it for more than 10 minutes, and I said, sign me up. This is absolutely where I need to be. So I'm very passionate about what we do and what we offer. And regarding the Safe Hearts line, I'd like to chat just a little bit about this. What this is we put together a whole team of professionals, and we held focus groups with people who have been abused, and we put together a line of books that is to help children and adults navigate these really important, difficult conversations that people tend to not have. And the purpose of the books is to empower children to take ownership of their own hearts and their bodies, to raise their awareness, and give them the ability to protect themselves against anyone who may try to harm them. And this program is very near and dear to my heart because the statistics are terrible. 70% of sexual assaults occur before the age of 17, and 95% of these assaults know their attacker. So it's not stranger danger. It's a very different cutting-edge line of books that, like I said, it gets into, the tricky people in your life that that are out to hurt you. And unfortunately, statistically, it's high.
Yeah, it really is. And so when you start to think about this, so there's a variety of things about a coach who wants to take you home or on an unplanned ride. There is something about victim shaming. There is this Damon's dilemma about his friend found a gun and wants the two boys to go out and shoot it. And it's, how do you deal with that? And how do you deal with it while you take your lumps? And I mean, it's a really interesting story because the book actually gets the boys to realize that they've got to tell an adult, and they're probably going to be in trouble, but that trouble is not nearly as bad as if they didn't tell, or if something else happened, or if the little brother got a hold of it. I mean, whoever the author of this book is, it really cuts to the heart of that issue of firearms responsibility.
Yes, we're very proud of this line and all the work that's gone into these books and creating something that is appropriate for all ages. But the children in the book that you'll find throughout all of them, they're kind of like little superheroes. And so the goal is for the kids to, as they're reading these books, they're kind of bonding with these little superhero kids and associating with them. And the kids are constantly throughout the book talking about, they're reiterating things like making the right choice and being courageous and being brave and strong. So it's really a lot of positive reinforcement, which is to help give these kids the courage to do the right thing, to tell an adult, to say no.
Right. And I think that the cool part about it as a kid's book is this book is kind of, it's not a really young kid's book. It's kind of, I would say, in the 8 to 10-year-old range, maybe 8-year-old, 6 to 8. I don't know. I don't know when they start to read. When do they start to read, Grandpa?
Mine seem to actually read and pay attention to what they're reading at about 8.
Okay. So
Before that they look at the pictures and...
Yeah, prior to that, somebody else is reading to them, but they're reading it on... Yeah, okay. So that's kind of the place that I would put this, but it also then opens the conversation to have a conversation with your parents about it. So it can be read to them earlier, or they can read it on their own.
This also, there's a parenting guide so that it gives you some tips if you're not a professional parent, I guess.
Okay. You're just a start-out parent. You didn't get the parent starter kit that goes with the baby.
Right.
You have to learn on your own.
We actually highly recommend anybody getting the book does start with that parent guide, because it does give them information on, how to have these conversations effectively and, know kind of to help know what to look for and so forth. And back to your age comment, the youngest Safe Heart superhero that we have in the book is 4 years old.
Okay.
And they range in age from 4 to 12. So we have a 4-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 12-year-old. So what I like about this is you can start reading to them when they're little because the pictures will engage them. So little ones are taking everything in like a sponge. So they're hearing everything, even though it may seem, a little older than their level. They're still hearing it and taking it in. And you can read these books to them for years because it's not like, a few years later they're going to feel like it's a baby book. It goes all the way through a long age range.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it came across to me. So it looks like there's 10 books. And, I mean, to me, someone was having a conversation this week about the fact that it's Christmas season. What am I going to get the kids? What am I going to get the grandkids in this conversation? And they prepared their daughter-in-law for the fact that incoming and books were on the way. So this is one of those kinds of things that if you're looking at it going, you've got all these littles in your family, this is an amazing collection for the family, for family consideration. So to that end, how can they get to you, or how can they get to Damsel in Defense, so that if they were interested in looking at these books, getting a snapshot of them? Because I think the books kind of take you to a whole different level than where the rest of the products are. I mean, the rest of the products are great, and I'm not discounting them by any means. But they're you're sitting together, having a conversation, learning about them. These books, I think, are so impressive that they're so standalone. They can be standalone.
Thank you so much. I really love that you appreciate that. And just one other thing we do have that it's probably one of my favorite things. It's called the Safe Hearts board game. And it's something that the families can play together on game night. And as you go through the, board, there's parents or adult cards and children's cards. And, you flip them over and you read these different scenarios and so forth, and you actually engage. So you can be covering these tough topics in a family-friendly way while you're playing a board game. And as the parents, you can find out, where they stand on, what they know and what they need to know more about. So
what
in order to, so if you'd like to place an order, I would love for anybody that would like to go onto my website, and it is www.mydamselpro.net/PRO15564, or people can reach out to me directly with my cell or shoot me a text, because I'd like to help guide people to make sure that they're getting the thing that's right for them. Okay. And we are currently running a special because November is Child Safety and Prevention Month. So right now our books are buy one, get one free.
Okay.
So we are running a BOGO through the end of the month, or while supplies last, whichever ends first.
Okay, so we're going to run the phone number pretty quick so they don't miss it. It's 330-203-7958. And they can text you, right?
Yes, text is great. And then I also have an email address if somebody wants to shoot me an email.
Okay, so and her email is defendingyourself@aol.com. Defendingyourself@aol.com.
Self is SLF.
Oh, okay, no E in there.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Sefcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, we are back, and well, Rob may be back. He's reading the book. So he took the kid's book, and he's like, "Ooh, look at this hardcover, good quality paper." So, shh, don't tell his grandkids.
It wasn't just a cheap paperback book that you would expect.
It's a nice book. And
after reading most modern books, paper is just one step up from tissue paper.
Yeah. Yeah, TP is got
it's
its
thick
own.
enough that you can print on both sides and not read the first page with the second.
Sometimes. Exactly. But so check out, and you guys can email us if you didn't catch that contact information. Feel free to come to our website, email us, and we will hook you up, because the thing is that as adults that have responsibilities for littles, look for the different pro-gun safety children's books, because we need to educate them, we need to normalize it, we need to make them aware, and we need to relay to small people the responsibilities of gun ownership and the fact that it is dangerous, and it can be dangerous.
The other thing, if you're a grandpa and you're looking for something to get the new baby or something, buy them a safe. I mean,
right.
It'll last them their whole life, and it'll hand down through the family, and there's a lot of work.
Yeah, so there is, our family tends to have you get a new baby. If you get married, you get a fire extinguisher. right? If you get a new baby, you get a gun safe. The new baby gets a gun. It just is a thing we've got. But it just, because safety, security, responsibility all kind of go together. And you don't want anything to happen to the littles. And we're so responsible for them. And we want them to learn how to be responsible for themselves and to make good decisions as they go forward.
Right. Well, and if you make good decisions and explain to them why you made some of these decisions down the road, it's much easier to get them to be 2A proponents also.
Right, for them to think about it. And it's just really overall the safety aspects of it. So so back to, as we talk about safety, this one's an interesting, we're gonna move on to a topic that the George Washington University. So George Washington University is in Washington, D.C. So it is downtown D.C., frankly, you're walking level to everything kind of thing. They did a poll, and they came up with this. The answer to this poll was that over 55% of Republicans have supported the possible use of force to preserve the traditional American way of life. And I think that that's an interesting poll number coming out of, and it wasn't as a result of, but coming out of this Kyle Rittenhouse thing, looking at where self-defense and personal protection was really on trial there.
And how popular that trial was. Everybody was watching it. I mean, it set some records for the amount of people watching
it really did, because you would get blow-by-blow, play-by-play through Facebook all day long as people were like, I can't believe they said that, right? Or they would just quote a line and leave it. And everybody knew where the line came from and what it was about. You didn't even have to go, what are you talking about? It was really kind of interesting there. But the thing is, in this survey, they went a little deeper and they said that patriotic Americans may potentially have to take the law into their own hands, and 47% said, yeah, may have to. So it is, the other part is that Democrats say that changing the nation's gun laws is very or somewhat important. 83% believe that we need stricter gun laws from the Democrat side. And on the Republican side, not so much. So it is truly, the Second Amendment truly is a partisan issue. But is it all about preservation? Is it Second Amendment? Is it guns? Is it crime? There's so many aspects to it that I really, really wish that I had an opportunity to see the questions and how they were answered.
Well, here's another article from Dave Workman, and they're quoting a Gallup poll. It says that gun control is dropping from how popular it has been to its lowest level since 2014. So it's dropping down. This is really, Pew Research also did a survey. Once again, we can't see the questions, that say that 48% of Americans see gun violence as a very big problem. Now, see, and the other 52 see violence as a very big problem. The funny part is we've been seeing record gun sales for, a year and a half now?
Right.
I mean, every month they're setting a record previous months. And it's if only 47% of the country is thinking that they need a gun, just think if all of a sudden the rest of them wake up, you thought you couldn't get something now. Every gun shop will be sold out to the nuts and bolts of the wall brackets.
Right. It's going to be, it's interesting, but it's like when they do these surveys, you want to see what they ask, not just what conclusion they draw. Because they say that 4 in 10 U.S. adults, 44%, say that they live in a household with a gun, and 32% say they personally own one. I've seen numbers way higher than that. Truly way higher than that.
Right. This article here where they're saying that it's the lowest, they're saying it's the lack of police presence and the fact that they want to defund police seems to be the driving force why more people are wanting to get a gun.
Well, duh. I mean, when they make it to where you don't feel safe.
Or when if you call for the police, it takes them 45 minutes to an hour to get there. Because a lot of things can happen to you in 45 minutes to an hour.
There is that, and there is the crime has already been committed. Is the bad guy still there? No. Okay, well then come into the station and make file a claim. I mean, you're actually reading that where it's like, well, if they're not in the middle of the commission of a crime, we've got time then. So we're going to address something else. And it's like, seriously? There's one more story, but I don't know where it went. Which? It was crime. The crime numbers. Here it is. The crime numbers in New York City. Now, New York City. Remember that whole New York City. New York City has some of the strongest gun control laws. You cannot get a gun. You can't have them. Firearms instructors. I mean, our firearms instructor friend can take her gun from her house to the range only after she calls the police to say that she and her gun are on the move, right? So now all of a sudden, crime in where's the numbers? Here we go. Crime from October of 2020 to October of 2021. So crime in 1 year, from a rolling October to October, is up 11.2% in New York. And what drew me to this was the fact that there was a guy on a subway that was just sitting there when someone else, unprovoked, walked up to him, stabbed him, and killed him. Completely unprovoked, no prior contact, no anything. Didn't rob him, just, I don't like the look of your face, whatever that was, and killed him. And so you don't have an opportunity to defend yourself at all. And that's, looking at these numbers, that is it. And so we started to see story after story. We'll talk about it in the next hour.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
supposed to ride. Standing in the station, ready to step inside. All you can see, something that you do, was red as the future was waiting for you. Train rolls in the station, you cannot make a move. Something inside you gives you heat, and then you know it's true. Is the fog lifting, or is it in your mind? You stand frozen as time unwinds. You can weep and moan, or you can reach your hand up and stop standing alone. Let them take your hand as you lift your face. Rise and take your place.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Okay, we're back, and I'm going to continue this conversation about crime. What's really interesting is gun sales are up. Crime as a whole across the United States is down, and it has been on the decline for the last 10 years.
Well, here's one where they say the Republicans do a better job of gun policy than Democrats do.
Okay, so 14% of independents think that there should be a ban on handguns. And, okay, so I don't know where this came from. I didn't get to look at that one. Okay, so gun ownership is higher amongst men, higher amongst Republicans, higher amongst conservatives, higher amongst...
I think that women are catching up, and they're saying also that the blacks and Latinos are buying a lot more guns than they have in the past.
So yeah, it really was that the inner city the law-abiding inner city didn't believe that a gun was an option for them.
Now, we had a gun shop, though, at a range, and we had a lot of the inner city that would come out, because it was on a freeway, so they would come right out.
So it was close.
And they would come out on Saturday and shoot, and maybe 6 or 8 of them get together, and then they would go out to eat afterwards and stuff. It was make it basically a day of it. And
well, and that's great when you end up with one friend who's got the knowledge, who's willing to share it with the other friends. But that's what happens. Is that as we talk about, you learn how to hunt from somebody who knows how to hunt. You learn how to shoot from somebody who knows how to shoot. You learn how to do things that the people in your sphere of influence do.
A lot of things, whether you're playing pool or golf or whatever, it's a lot more fun if you have 2 or 3 friends that do it, so that you can call them whenever and go play together. And that also makes you better, because if they're better than you, you get better to beat them,
and you so work on the skill set. Yeah, right.
So it works out much better like that. If you buy one, years ago I bought a Thompson Center Contender single shot pistol. It was really cool, but inaccurate. But all my friends would set up something to shoot at, and they'd be bang, 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 and I'd get 2 shots off, and all the targets would be gone. So single shot wasn't as much fun, because everybody else shot all the targets up before I got there.
That wasn't what, they weren't playing the same game you were playing. That was where that was.
So yeah, things change, but if you got some friends, I mean, whether it's muzzle loading, whether you're golfing or just going out to eat, friends make it much more fun. And
it's really funny because you look at it, crime on the whole is down. Murder rates, supposedly, according to the Gallup poll, says that the murder rates are on an upswing.
You know, the funny part, though, is you read other things, and the inner city saying, "Oh, well, we need more police officers because crime is on the up." So, I mean, snatch and grabs and all this stuff, they're just busting the windows out and grabbing something in traffic, so you can't even chase after them or something.
There is those pieces. So it's like, who do you trust? Where do you get your facts? Do you get your facts from George Washington University, from Gallup, from Pew, from the news, from MSNBC?
Anything that you ask somebody what they think or do you have a gun? Most of them are going to say no, because they've learned their lesson.
The answer is none, right? None your business.
They've learned their lesson over the years that nothing good comes out of telling you the true story. Let me tell you what you want to hear instead of what.
What do you want to hear? What's the right answer? Huh? Tell me what the right answer is.
But I think that's more what you're getting out of a poll than real. Grist, I guess.
but I mean, we've sat here. The thing is that. Where do you get your facts? Because you can't get it from the news organizations. Because look at this. Here's
even that, like the FBI releases their stuff, but with the way the FBI has been lately, do you trust what they have to say too?
But right now, America, there's 2 Americas. They are so split, so divided, and they're divided. One, look at this Rittenhouse case, because I think it is truly a case that points out that there are two groups of Americans, because my news told me that the prosecutor had all kinds of procedural errors. He ought to be in trouble with.
Right, they should actually prosecute
right?
him
They ought
for.
to retract his diploma from prosecutor
Right. Also,
school.
at the end, he was found not guilty. Well, if you watch the other news channels,
They're like, how can that be?
He got an acquittal,
Right.
and they're not guilty. And then also too, they didn't see anything wrong with the way that the other guy did it. But one of the things that was
probably in this one. What?
they're saying here that the progressives wanted Rittenhouse to be freed on this because it gives them much more.
It gives Mom Demand Action a platform to raise money,
Right, so
because
now
how could it be?
right,
This
so now
is an
that's the thing.
injustice of America.
And the thing was, it was a white guy who had shot 3 white people.
But they called him racist.
And they also keep saying that it's a black crime and it's a white privilege and all this stuff. They called it a murder trial, even though it was just whether it was self-defense or not.
Mhm.
There was a lot of key words that they were using in this.
Correct.
And then there's another case that you're not hardly even hearing about, this A.J. Coffey the fourth.
Mhm.
I vaguely remember this.
So he was defending himself because the police.
The police were doing a SWAT raid or something. He shot at the police. The police returned fire, and I believe they killed his girlfriend in that thing. And then they were trying to say that he
They were
killed the
prosecuting
girlfriend
him
because of the fact that he shot at the police.
in the commission of a crime.
Right.
Someone else
And
died.
so he just got off with not guilty also, but it was.
But it hasn't gotten the news, and it should have. It really should have, because you would think that it has everything that the news wants. It's it's a black man using a gun. The police. You would have thought, and it's
right. Even this article is it's 4 pages, and he gets a paragraph and a half about
right. Well,
Mr. Coffey.
But Rittenhouse is the big deal right now. It's made the news. So this is an article by Petrolino. So when you see him next, you can give him grief about the fact that he didn't give.
Well,
Coffey
and it may be that next week's because that case just went through. It may be that next week the article will be more.
And there's a lot less information on it because the news just didn't roll it.
So it could be unfairly.
Right.
Here
comes the bus that just ran over Petrolino. Is that what that?
But it's the kind of thing that it might be that there may be more come out next week. You never know, but they're making it really hard on you to find this stuff. Also, with these,
we're still talking crime. So
we were talking. Well, they were doing. They're bracing themselves in Kenosha for the whatever it is
for the pushback. They expect more riots.
Right, the riots. And so all across the country, the things in California, this Nordstrom, there was said 80 looters showed up in ski masks with crowbars, busted this Nordstrom's up, went in, stole a bunch of stuff, and then left. Under a minute, it took 25 cars full of designer clothing and other things like this in. So it doesn't look like it's the average gang that's out there doing. This is well organized. Everybody knows what
they're in California.
Everybody knows what their job is. You do this. You take that. Run back out to the
coast. Why do you have? Here's my first question: who skis in San Francisco?
Maybe they all went to whatever Reno and bought them or something while they were at the.
Well, I'm just saying that it's not like I see 2 guys in ski masks going to loot the store, and I reach behind in my snow pile of gear here, grab my ski mask, and join them. There's 80 looters in an orchestrated effort.
Right, I mean because they're saying they went in under a minute and cleaned the store out and left in 25 cars full of junk. So that's like an organized crime thing, not just
crime. Yeah.
or not just a group of people that met in the street and decided it was a good idea.
Right.
Then they're also saying in San Francisco they're having these smash and grab crimes, and
But isn't that where they just passed the law that if it was less than $950, the police don't chase them?
right. But people, they say that you make sure you don't put anything in the car that people just see from the window, because they'll just knock the window out and steal your stuff. A lot of times in traffic, so you can't even get out of the car and chase after them or anything. You're pretty much just stuck letting them take your stuff.
Okay, well, one last thing. The carjacking suspect was wearing an electronic monitoring ankle bracelet for, get this, carjacking. And so he was actually out on bail
So
for
was he
carjacking
rehabilitated from the first?
and an unrelated second-degree rape. So he was a guy who needed to have an ankle bracelet. Seriously.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Seppacool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, we are back. So if you were like half of the American population watching the Rittenhouse trial, were you putting yourself in what would you do? Where would you be if you were in a situation or caught in a situation like that? And then I want you to really think about firearms legal as a defense for your family, because if you carry a gun, you should have legal protection of some sort. Some protection, and I'm not going to say insurance, but it is protection to ensure that you and your family get to keep live indoors, keep all your property.
Right. How much did it cost Kyle for lawyer fees for the last year that he's been?
It was not an inexpensive situation. Right. You know, just think about it. I mean, we know how expensive it is to have, a will or one of the legal papers written up. Not even the trial prep, just the 8 days of trial with a whole staff of attorneys. The price is not a small one. So Firearms Legal, and we have a discount code for you. It's EOTT, so Eye on the Target Radio. So EOTT is your discount code that you can use as you go to firearmslegal.com and check out their programs, check out their prices, read up on it a little bit, and see if that's a program for consideration for you and your family. It's the program that Rob and I picked for our families.
Right. It's I like the fact that you can call and talk to a lawyer when you need one instead of waiting until you have to have one.
So you have to have one. So did you see the story about the police officer in Virginia who donated $25 to the Kyle Rittenhouse Defense Fund and promptly was terminated?
Right. Well, now that
so there's a not guilty.
Right.
Yeah.
Now he wants his job back. So as to what's going to go on between him and the chief of police there.
Yeah, he was fired in April. And so the Guardian had been tracking who was donating to Kyle Rittenhouse and then researching the donors to see who they were so that they could have a conversation or do something. So the Guardian revealed the names of police officers and other public officials who donated to the Rittenhouse Legal Defense Fund.
Well, the thing too is, I mean, you've seen that during the trial that MSNBC was trying to find out who the jurors were.
They were trailing the jurors.
It's like, why does people need to know all of this stuff anyway? So
well, there's a whole thing about, and jury tampering and doxing a jury is punishable by.
Let's hope they do something. I mean, we got so much laws that are being broken every day and nothing is being done about it.
Right.
We need to see some real, actual, old-fashioned tar and feathering type stuff to bring us back to reality.
You're generally a little harsher than I am, but I'm not sure that I disagree with you right now. So the Norfolk police chief, Larry Boone, suggested that Kelly's comments and actions eroded trust between police officers and the public. Seriously? We're going to watch this story because there's more to it. And my hope is that Norfolk has to pay him all of his back pay while he sat around and ate bonbons and
enjoyed his summer.
Right. That's where I'm hoping. That's what I'm having.
So we had talked about in September, Texas had a new law that was aimed at anti-gun banks. I mean, we had talked in the past about the fact that some banking institutions weren't loaning money to the gun companies. Some weren't allowing you to use your credit card to run a gun-based business.
You go to a gun shop and you want to use your credit card to buy a gun or buy supplies or buy something at a gun shop, and your credit card company says, they're not going to let you make that purchase because they don't agree with that purchase for something that is legal, but you can't make the purchase. So that's where it kind of started. Then they did that Operation Chokehold on gun shops where the banks would refuse to finance them, work with them, be their banks.
Right. There was a couple of large companies. I know Ruger and those guys had like open lines of credit with different banking things because they buy a ton of equipment, and then they had closed some of those lines of credit for them. And
so they're not just punishing the small shops; they're punishing the big companies. And so in September, when we talked about this, they said that banks that refuse to do business with firms that manufacture modern sporting rifles or large capacity magazines, that Texas was not going to work with them. So they passed legislation. Louisiana followed suit in dealing with it because what they did was they did a survey of the banks when they were going out for bid on a $700 million municipal bond deal. $700 million. And the different banks were vying for this business. So they gave them a survey. And in the survey, which bank was it? JP Morgan. JP Morgan wouldn't answer the question. And the question was, they ask, where was specifically the question? Ask banks whether they have policies that infringe on citizens' rights to bear arms as part of the firm's application. And so JP Morgan said they didn't. So then they ask a specific question. And the specific question is whether they finance the manufacture of certain weapons for civilian use or not, whether they restrict that. JP Morgan declined to answer. We'll just say on the premise that it may incriminate them, but they declined to answer. So Louisiana took the "I'm not answering you" as a affirmative answer and said, okay, we're not playing with you. So they lost a $700 million deal that they had the prior bid.
This says they actually led to a number of companies, including JP Morgan, that missed out on hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, JP Morgan had the business prior. So they pulled the business and they gave it to Wells Fargo. So JP Morgan, so the other ones were trying for business that they didn't have, which is different than like JP Morgan that had it and it's like no soup for you and they took it. And so that was hopefully it hurts and they reevaluate their their policies because when your policies get into politics on something that is perfectly legal and part of the Bill of Rights, you're wrong.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Oh, well, they were. I'm like, my cock's wrong or something. Are we back on?
Or something?
Okay. I'm like, there's something going on. I'm like, I'm hearing music, and am I back on? Rob's showing me this gun, and it's like we're doing the provenance. So we're doing gun research here in the corner, all looking at trying to do it on a cell phone with a serial number and a stamp and provenance and
the word of a riverboat captain who was shot in the arm as a secondary victim in 1879 or something.
And that was trailing it. So I'm so sorry that we're so lack of professional there in that. But
yeah, but we're having fun doing it. So
in the history section next week, we've got something to talk about because that will be it. So you remember that. So Chicago, here's the thing. This is an interesting, if you live in a municipality that passes a anti-gun law, your only choice is to use the courts.
The funny part is it says Chicago, but it's actually one of the little suburbs.
It's Deerfield, Illinois. So
it's funny, so many little suburbs are always in the news in there. So does that cover all of Chicago, or does it only cover that little?
It's only Deerfield, Illinois' ban on assault weapons.
Remember back in the 80s when, I don't know what the name of there was one of the little things that you couldn't have a gun in town. And so the guys in Georgia made it so everybody had to have a gun.
Right, so they were fighting back. Yeah, what is it, Kennesaw,
Georgia or something?
Kennesaw, Georgia. So in this case, your only recourse is to use the court system, and so you start running up through the court system, and so the citizens in Deerfield, Illinois, they took it clear to the Illinois Supreme Court. They got to the Illinois Supreme Court, and one of the justices recused himself completely from playing, and because of that. They have 7 Supreme Court justices. One recused himself, and the others were deadlocked 3-3. So because of that, they worked their way up, and the law stands as it was passed. And you cannot own an air quotes assault weapon.
But they said that because of the fact that the Supreme Court is working on that New York versus, I can't think of it, something starts with a B.
Bruin.
That by May or July of next year, they may have a second run at it because the gun laws are going to change in this country greatly. They're expecting.
We're really hoping. So we're expecting, and it'll be by June of 2022. But
anytime you open something, do you always get what you want, or do you lose something in the meantime? Is there? You have a spot where you
take a chance sometimes, but I think this is sort of like right up there with the media stuff, where you got to take your chance, put yourself out there, fight for what you believe in, and go from there. The interesting thing is I'm like, inquiring minds want to know. I want to know why that judge recused himself.
Right.
I want to know.
Did he have an assault rifle, or was he?
If you're a Supreme Court justice, can you? Well, I guess he can, but should you? Right? If your job is to judge, and you say, "I don't feel like it today. I'm not feeling it. I'm not."
And the thing is how can everybody has a side, one way or the other, and it doesn't matter whether it's what candy bar you like or what kind of gasoline you buy or
brown mustard, yellow mustard.
Right. You have to be impartial, listen to the facts, and give out your best judgment at that point. And it seems like a lot of people can't do that. And why not? I mean, why can't you just listen to what they have to say and say?
Can you give me any facts as to why yellow mustard is acceptable for anyone's palate?
Because it makes a fabulous, what are the deviled eggs?
Okay.
I myself could drink it with a straw. It doesn't bother me.
I find it
repulsive. I like it. But anyhow, go back to stuff. Sacramento police say that they need help due to the fact that with the word coming down the pike that they were going to be defunded, crime has shot up in the area, even though they weren't defunded.
They weren't defunded, but everybody's like, woohoo, fair game, right?
So, and they're saying this is across the country. It's not just them because the criminals don't read the fine print in the thing. They just see that they're defunding the police.
But wait, everybody doesn't read the fine print.
Right.
Think about it. Have you ever read the fine print when you agreed to one of those contracts for your cell phone?
Right, and when
215 pages.
Yeah, right. When I read this, though, it really went down to the inner city and the structure that the Democratic leadership has led these inner cities into. So whether you're talking about Sacramento, Boston, any one of about 200 other cities they all have the same issues, and so until the voters actually
start to push back and
either put new leadership into those city roles, or they get themselves a Rittenhouse, they're kind of in the same shape they're in.
Okay, we're back to tar and feather. I'm just saying.
So if you live in one of these inner cities, I recommend you go buy yourself a Magnum Research 1911 because they work fabulously.
You may need that. You may need that. So it is crazy because, I don't know. I can't even give a point of view on some of that because it's like it's like head meet brick wall, and you just keep pounding your head on the same brick wall forever.
Right, but people, I mean, if you're a voter, a lot more people are paying attention than ever in the past. I mean, in the past, it was like, I remember that name. I mean, and a guy could just have the same name as the strawberry jelly you eat every day, and he got voted in as a judge because of the fact that you remember that name. It has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with his judging capabilities or anything else. It's just I remember that name from somewhere, and I don't remember where. But that's
it was a very familiar name. That strawberry jelly name. You're so right, though. I mean, name recognition is everything when it comes to politics. And the question is, how do you know the name?
I mean, that's the thing is, if you all of a sudden this Judge Cloverfield is running, and that's what you eat every day. You open the jar, it says Cloverfield on it. It's like pretty soon, it's like I remember that name from somewhere, but I don't remember where I remember it from.
Huh. And he was wearing a red shirt, right? When I saw him, because right.
But if you look, I think, well, when Obama put the czars in, I think that was the beginning of the modern voting era.
What, are people waking up? You mean?
Right, people that actually brought the Tea Party into play.
Right.
So had the Republicans been doing their job, there was no need for the Tea Party. But because of the fact that they weren't, Obama put all these czars in right away.
That
we
were taught that we're doing
right, and he picked this name czar for some reason when we were taught to hide under the desk from anything with the czar type.
Okay. Right, because they were gonna do stuff to us, right?
So I mean,
War.
old people didn't get along with this new terminology just because we've been trained for 50 years not to. Okay. As it goes through now, more and more people are waking up, and you're seeing this in the school districts. You're seeing it all over the place. Right. I mean, and they keep picking more and more stuff. Well, I just see there was a whistleblower that's saying that Merrick Garland, who's the Department of Justice guy, he lied in front of Congress, and they're saying that he needs to that they need to call him back in and ask more pointed questions in this particular.
Well, that would be an interesting.
But they're saying they're still.
You're right. People are waking up.
They've weaponized all these industries against, or not industries, but all of the FBI, the Department of Justice, the Homeland Security, against the regular people who really have nothing going on besides their everyday life, but yet now they're not global terrorists, they're domestic terrorists.
Domestic terrorists. If they don't like what you've done,
you get a cool new name to go along with you.
So gun owners are waking up saying these are my guns, and so crime is not necessarily going up. It's in the inner cities. It's going up. Crime everywhere else is dropping.
Right.
But the 24-hour news cycle makes everybody fear that the crime is going up.
But I
then
think
they're buying guns. And then,
but some of this government stuff is, I mean, who do you trust? It used to be that the FBI worked for truth, justice, and the American way, and so did supposedly the CIA.
But didn't the FBI get rid of American out of their new quote?
I don't know, but that's the thing. Is there's so many things that all of a sudden the general public are saying, well, I think I might need a musket for my.
I may need to order. Hey, ammo man!
It's been a while since. All right, it's been a while since I charged my musket, but I'm not opposed to recharge it
if I have to.
Better safe than
in my front yard.
But better safe than sorry. Pay attention to what's going on to your surroundings and get involved. I mean, if your school system is doing something that is not on the up and up, you need to know about it and be in the.
I have to say that of all the school system stuff, I love the fact that there are now PTA moms that go to school board meetings and that are reading the school board school porn. and the fact that here they're all dignified and they're reading this, and then they're looking up the words and they're saying, and that word, in case you don't know what that word means, that word means this. In case you don't know what that word means, because I had to look it up too, that word means this. And the school boards are decidedly uncomfortable. But the point is, the parents had thought that it was the school board's responsibility to vet the books, and obviously somebody didn't.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Sefcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, we are back. And I want to quote another Petrolino article because Facebook states that they believe in truth, freedom, and the American way all of a sudden. We strongly believe in the principles of free expression, strive to create an environment where people can act on their freedoms. People on our platforms can speak their mind, connect with others, promote common causes, share their personal experiences, and organize First Amendment protected activities.
Their biggest thing is they're complaining about the police are making all of the underlings in the police departments get a Facebook page under an assumed name.
Right.
And then they're saying that now people can't trust them because they don't know who's the stinking fuzz and who's
I'm pretty sure that when you go through your Facebook friends and you see somebody's name is Dipsity Doodah, you know, their mom probably didn't name them.
Well, the thing is also too, if you follow them and listen to what they got to say, you can pick up on who somebody is because
bingo.
They can't really hide too much. But then the article kind of bleeds into. You've all seen it on Facebook. You can buy a
fuel filter,
from the Chinese that looks like a suppressor, acts like a suppressor, but it's a fuel filter. It's totally illegal, and the ATF are watching these pages because.
So who's put those out? Is Facebook put them out? Is it
and that's
the
the thing
ATF that's
they're
put
also
them out?
accusing that Facebook puts those focused on the gun community. So anything like this, if you can buy an auto sear, you can buy these things. Those are they're saying it's a trap that Facebook and the ATF are setting on you. Yet Facebook is having a problem with the general police force just going in and getting a page that doesn't have their name on it.
The interesting part is that the Guardian.
What they call fuel filters, solvent traps, and auto sears. So all that stuff. There was a long time they were bringing in some kind of auto sear that fit a airsoft gun, but it fit a standard Glock also.
There you go.
You were seeing them in a lot of the crime things because they were showing up. These guys were buying them, putting them in there.
Right. The video producers never bought any filters from Facebook. Now, Wish, on the other hand, because Wish also markets through Facebook, and there's that. But they are out to get you. I'm just saying, kids, they are out to get you. The interesting part is that the Brennan Center, there's a quote from Rachel Levinson Waldman, who is the deputy director at the Brennan Center, says that the LAPD, the issue is the LAPD is really disproportionately affecting organizers of color. And this is really important to help ensure the protection of activists of racial justice and social justice. So social justice warriors she's concerned about. And all I can think about is
so
the meme.
Worry? I mean, it seems like if you're a criminal, whether you're white, black, Asian, whatever, from Mars or whatever, you're still a criminal, and you should be dealt with as a criminal and not given a pass because who you are, or who you knew, or who you were related to down the road or in the past or something.
There you go, making sense again.
I'm still thinking that tar and feathers sounding better and better all the time.
I'm telling you. there is so much of that. But just know that Facebook has been for years. I mean, Congress had them in testifying on the fact that they were shutting down conservative conversations, Second Amendment conversations. You can't. Well,
I know that there's a lot of.
You cannot say.
It's easy to get in Facebook jail. I can vouch for that.
Well, you have gone from Facebook jail to Facebook prison.
And then there's other things where they just kind of turn off my stuff so you can't post things or put things on it.
You are wearing the ankle bracelet with the big FB on it. We're just saying because you do not.
I only tell you the facts and just purely the facts. No.
I'm not sure that that's exactly how it goes, but okay. But it really is interesting that the different groups are pushing around and that Facebook is saying to the LAPD, don't make fake accounts. Look at the other people that are on Facebook. I'm pretty sure that the LAPD is not the only offender.
Right. A lot of people have 50 different accounts. So anyhow, the next big news coming up, Monday, they're starting to pick jurors for the Ghislaine Maxwell thing. So if she lives that long, we might find something out about this. But
the question is that's going to be. And are they only going to use the jury or the court artist, or is it going to be? This is a question.
Well, they say it's a federal and the federals don't let the cameras in. They could, but they do not because it leads people to believe that it's a monkey court. So that's why you only see the picture drawings of it and stuff like this.
So on the federal. So that at least makes some sense, because I was like, we can watch the circus that was Rittenhouse, but we can't watch the circus that is Maxwell.
It depends on if it's a state-run court or a federal-run court.
Okay, well, okay.
But the other part of this is, are they going to go with live testimony? Are they going to use stuff that she has already recorded and different things like this? Is it going to be a mixture of the two? I mean, so if something was to happen to her, do they have enough stuff on record in the past that they've
I don't know, but
because somewhere they've been hiding her for almost a year now, and
well, there's the whole Epstein thing. So we're just going there. So I just want to do a shout out to my friend Holly, because I think this is probably one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. She has chickens, and she names her chickens after historical figures. And she's also got an 8-year-old daughter, and so the 8-year-old daughter gets to help pick the chickens' names and all this. Well, they got chickens. They just got some new chickens recently, and those chickens had been in a free-range chicken farm. So when they came, the first thing that the chicken did was have an egg. This one had an egg, and it had been near a boy chicken. So they were watching. So she and her daughter have been watching this egg to find out if it was going to be a chicken, if it was a viable egg to be a chicken. It was. They put it in an incubator. They've gone through the whole thing. They hatched it out, and it hatched on Friday at the same time that the Kyle Rittenhouse jury came back in and did their testimony. Remember, they name all their chickens after historical figures. So they named this chicken Kyle Chicken House.
Chicken House.
So Kyle Chicken House is a new chicken in Connecticut, and I think that is probably one of the funniest historical figures.
I thought maybe he had like the little black glasses like the one on Foghorn Leghorn that was the little lawyer chicken.
The little lawyer chicken. This could be, they could name it. I don't know what that one's name is, but I love watching my friend Holly teach her daughter history in a living history kind of way to begin with. And this just adds another level to it.
You got to just keep on mailing them props, huh?
Right. There's so much to that. It takes a village. We'll just say it takes a village to help raise the historical knowledge of a kid. That's the way that goes. So we are down to just the last minute of the show, and we'd like to wish you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving, and that we all take a moment to think hard about why the United States is the best country in the world, why we are so grateful and so thankful to be Americans and to be in the United States, and to be in a position to where we are working and talking and defending the Constitution. And what else do you want to say?
No, I think you covered it pretty good. I mean, we got it made so well that other countries want to be like us and try to mimic our Constitution. And
okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.